Hello again, this is AutoCAD Quick and Easy, and in this short video tutorial we're going to see how to make the roofs of the German pavilion. The only thing that is left to finish this plan is to make the roof lines which match the projection of the roofs. They are these dashed lines that you see here and here. To draw them we need to make these squares or these rectangles and then give them the dashed line type that you see here. We will start for this little roof, of which we know the dimensions 1032 by 1025, and we know that it's 60 centimeters apart from the exterior walls that you see here. What we are going to do is to draw a rectangle of the appropriate size. In this case, I click on this icon, which is rectangle, and I'll start the rectangle in this corner. I know that the roof it's not going to be in this position, but it's a good way for starting. Then I will move it until the final position. Okay, so click here, and now I have to specify the size, the opposite corner. Remember that it's always X dimension first and Y dimension after. In this case 1032 and then 1025. So I type 10.32 comma minus, because we're going downwards, 10.25 intro, and I have the square. Now I'm going to put the square or the rectangle, it's not exactly a square, in its appropriate position. To do this I have to move the whole rectangle 60 centimeters up and 60 centimeters to the left. Here in the modify section we find this arrowed icon. With this icon, with this tool, I can move objects. I click on move, and the first thing I am asked for is selecting the objects that are going to be moved. In this case, only the rectangle. Once I finish selecting the objects, as usually, I click spacebar or enter, and he asks me for the base point. It can be whichever point you prefer. And now the second point. This is where do I want to put the object. In this case, the displacement has to be 60 centimeters upwards and 60 centimeters to the left. So I write minus 0.6, comma 0.6. And the rectangle is appropriately placed. What else? I have to change the properties of this square because I don't want it to be yellow, I want it to be white. And I want the lines to be dashed. First of all, the color. You know that you just go here and select by layer or directly the color you want. Okay. And now the line type. Here you find the different properties you can change of a line. The color here. The line weight here, you can choose thicker lines, but we're not going to use it. And the line type here. When you deploy this menu, you only see by layer, by block or continuous, but they are all continuous. You can load different line types, clicking in Other. Here you see all the line types, that's the same than before, but you can load more line types. And here you have the standard list of different line types you can choose. In this case, I would load dash space. And now it's loaded. I click on OK, and if I want to select this line type, it appears here. Okay, dash space. Nothing happens. What's the problem here? The problem is that I have to adjust how big is each dash and how big is each blank space. In order to do this, you have to go here in the command bar and type LT scale intro. And now you're asked for a new scale factor. You can enter a factor like 0.1 for instance and see what happens. And now you see that this dashed line is better, but it's still too big. So you repeat LT scale. You can click on the up arrow and you repeat the last command. And instead of 0.1, I'll say 0.03. Okay, I find it correct, so I left LT scale in this way. And now I have to do the other one. If I have two dimensions here. If I make the sum, it's 25.11 meters by 14.21. This line is exactly over the other line, and this line is 436 from the inner part of this wall. So again, I will draw the rectangle first, and then I will place it exactly where I want to. Rectangle again. In this case I will draw it anywhere, I will move it afterwards, and this rectangle is 25.11, 14.21. Intro. This is the rectangle. Now I'm going to put it in the appropriate position. I take this rectangle, I move it, so this point comes exactly over the line. Okay. Now I move it again. You can just click enter and you repeat the last command. I move it again, so that this point comes exactly over this line. And now I move it again, move this object, so that this point goes in this direction 4 meters, 0.36 centimeters. Now the roof is perfectly placed. And I have to remind that I want the same line type than this roof. I can repeat the operation that I did before, but a quicker way is to go here, match properties. You select the source object, so the object you want to copy. And now you go here, and the properties, which are color, line type, and these kind of things, are copied. Now we have finished this plan, and we can go to the next tutorial in which we are going to explain the carpentries.